What's up guys, welcome back from the Yugioh Pro Duel video. Next match, Cross-Banlist Cap. It has been a while, right? Especially with worlds in between the... I think a little over a week ago. So let's pick this one up again. We have two slower decks here in the next group. The last match here in this particular group, we already saw that both, at least both decks from the previous match a week ago, are going on to the top 16 playoffs. So both these decks are currently sitting at 4 points. Sadly not enough, but, well, they kind of feel like a little bit power creeped compared to the other decks here in this particular group. So we have Quickdraw, Dandywarrior, plant deck from years ago versus Hieratic Gishki. The Gishki, well, at least one of the most competitive decks featuring Gishki outside of like FDK shenanigans. So which deck has the advantage? And as you see here in this particular in this particular chart, I can definitely agree, the little more recent deck from 2012 having a slight advantage over the older deck, I guess, from 2010, being the Quickdraw Dandywarrior deck, which is of course much slower compared to the Gishki deck, right? So anyway, plants are able to start and opening with Lone Fire. That's an okay start, but let's not forget that the Hieratic Gishki does have the opportunity, or does have the advantage, that it's playing Heavy Storm. So a couple of options here I could have added with Dandelion in defensive position, but I opt to go for Titanial. Titanial basically like a big beat stick, I guess, also can protect your setup a little bit. But the Black Rose caught me off guard, setting the pot of Everest was a bit iffy, I guess. Again, the small chance of him having Heavy Storm, but yeah, the Black Rose was kinda unexpected, right? Because of, well, I said Everest because, you know, the Gust Kraken basically revealing two cards from your opponent's hand, and then the opponent, I believe, yeah, indeed, the opponent needs to pick one of those revealed cards and send it back, or send one of those back to the deck. So it's like a small confiscation or delinquent duo-alike card. Well, Forceful Sentry is the correct term. And that's, well, the best field, I guess. You can go for the Gishki Hieratic HANDLOOP, or, you know, abusing Messier 7. That was basically prime 2012. I believe we in the TCG were able to play, I think, the deck for like 1 weekend or 2 weekends, because by the time we actually got the Gust Kraken with Messier 7, the deck got axed by Konami, right? Because back then it was so strong, especially because, well, the lack of hand traps, right? Here I probably could have gone for, you know, Special Summon Quickdraw as well and go for the level 8 Synchro play and getting the extra 2 tokens, but I was like, well, I'm not going to risk that, I guess, because the bottomless set, right? I can get rid of the Messier 7 or whatever, maybe Gust Kraken as well, but, and, you know, just keep Dandelion in defensive position. If the opponent is able to get rid of Dandelion, I have both tokens on my side of the field to, well, you know, use Quickdraw and go for the potential Drill Warrior as well. But I probably should have gone for the level 8 Synchro play, being the, what is it called, the Chunk Destroyer. Chunk Destroyer being just a big beat stick, and that's where, you know, it could have been, at least it definitely could have helped, especially with the bottomless set, protecting that not so high attack Chunk Destroyer. I don't think its attack is that high, but probably a bit higher compared to the, you know, the Gust Kraken or the potential Exceed he can go for, you know, the rank 6 Exceeds, right? And even though I still have my protection in the form of Prison or Bottomless or whatever. So I think he saw the Dimensional Prison earlier, so revealing the Mirror Force here, not taking any more damage, and not that great here. Okay, then the line just going to set it, I guess, but again, it's turning into pretty much of a stalling game, and I think he only knows my Prison. Yeah, I think so. He saw that earlier, so, and that's a problem for him, is that as long as he's not drawing into well, no Hieratics, you know, he will not gain that big of an advantage off of the Ritual Summons. So Gust Kraken, as you know, the Gishkis can, at least the low-level Gishkis, they're basically like Necros Shuret. You can use their low-level monsters for the 1-card Ritual Summon. And I believe the Light and Darkness Dragon, I believe 2 cards from my hand were sent back to the deck. Or at least was it the Light and Darkness Dragon, so not really sure. And I think, I think I didn't have like many outs, but as soon as I drew into Lead, I was like, yep. Big Lads is my delicious, my precious out here. And you know, like back in the old school days with Destiny here, or at least with Raida, Light and Darkness Dragon, Perfect Circle, Light and Darkness Dragon, the, I believe 2007, 2008 Light and Darkness Dragon was one of the best cards ever here in this game, right? At least back then, because it was so hard to well, you can definitely play around it again. The card was forced to activate as soon as a card, either on your own field or on your opponent's side of the field, activated. So you can just put it like on a chain link, chain your Bottomless to Light and Darkness Dragon effect, or when it's summoned, right, or Book of Moon, or whatever, to shut down the Light and Darkness Dragon. But still, it paid off, getting those extra negations, and that's where the card shines. And especially in the older formats, the card Light and Darkness Dragon is definitely very, very solid. So game number 3, I think. Game number 3, if I'm not mistaken, and Gishki gets to start, and that's the problem. Gishki's also a deck from 2012 is basically windups, very similar to windups, especially if it's at least if it's able to open with, you know, the ritual spell, the searches, low level searches, level 4, level 3, I believe. Not really sure about this, but not level 2 indeed. I mean, and the Hieratic as well. It's just you can definitely get like 3 cards from your opponent's hand, and on top of that, you get, you know, like pick at least 2 cards from your opponent's hand and send one of those 2 back to the deck. So your opponent will definitely lose, like, depending on what your opening hand is, at least 3, maybe 4 cards. If you have Avarice as well, that might be like 4 or 5 cards. So your opponent, or leave your opponent like handless, with no hand during his turn other than just, you know, the draw phase, right? And Triple Messier 7 gain those extra advantage, and yeah, the advantage of Gust Kraken, it's also revealing your opponent's hand. So again, free information about their potential answers, and back in the old school days, that could be like Mass Destruction of Torrential Tribute, Mirror Force, or whatever. But if you have the answers, if you have, you know, the advantage of seeing your opponent's hand, back then, that was just far too strong, and Konami immediately axed the Gust Kraken hand loop by limiting Gust Kraken as well. Not really sure if Konami did other things to hinder the Gust Kraken deck, but I believe, yeah, definitely Gust Kraken got limited. Not sure about other cards though. Maybe, yeah, the Hieratic engine, like the Hieratic Seal, the Searcher, might have been restricted, but I'm not too sure about this. So, game number 4, I start off, and this hand is not good, especially against a deck that has, like, access to Heavy Storm. You can't, like, nowadays, you can just set your entire back row without any fear. Well, okay, Excite-A-Knight, etc. But you know what I mean, like back in the old school days, there was always a fear of Heavy Storm, and then you were like, well, am I going to commit my traps here? Like most of the time, you'll just set maybe 1 or 2. Well, if you set 1, your opponent always has a Typhoon, so you want to set 2, but then there is a potential Heavy Storm from your opponent. So, and especially opening 5 traps, you can't risk it, just set 2. If the opponent has Heavy Storm, tough luck, and there was a Heavy Storm. So yeah, otherwise, well, the other way around is that, well, I can definitely set my entire hand, because I'll just lose it to Gust Kraken, right? So I think I always would have lost here this 4th and final duel. I mean, his opening hands were just far too great. Messier 7 release back then was definitely very solid, gaining or getting back those heretics from the graveyard, right? Or the searches, and the fact that Gust Kraken got that, at least the ritual spell, you know, the ritual spell and Gust Kraken, get, I believe, back your Gust Kraken from your graveyard and sending back the ritual spell from your graveyard back to the deck. 3 pluses, right? One of the few and best archetype, well, the good archetypes from the old school days, not making your ritual summon that big of a minus, right? So, okay, Gishki Handloop getting the 7 points, but it's not enough. We already saw from the previous video that both Exceed Infernities and Blood are moving on to the top 16, as you see here. So those matchups are already known here for the next, you know, the top 16 playoffs, right? So the next duel. Again, like always, feel free to leave your prediction which decks, or, well, you know, which deck is going to win this particular matchup or this next matchup, right? Learn to speak. First of all, you have Burning Abyss, definitely, you know, this year's title candidate. Well, PK Fire, I guess, with the Emptiness, Triple Fogblade as well, and let's not forget the Speedroid Terror Drop at its prime, Double Seer as well, and triple lovely Beatrice here in the main deck. It's going to take on 60 card Pelios, definitely also a title candidate. Also lost, I believe, in the previous match against Lightsworn. So, but you know, well, we know why, right? So again, like always, feel free to leave your predictions. Which deck is going to win this one? In top right corner, the eye symbol, or just like always, leave a comment. Okay, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment or a like if you enjoyed the video. Lithium signing out. Peace.